Ma'am, step away from the vehicle. You are interfering with federal property.
I don't care what it is. This is a private community.
That was the moment I knew this wasn't just another HOA dispute. This was going to end someone's career, possibly hers. Before we continue, tap like, subscribe, and comment what city or country you're watching from, because HOA madness knows no borders, and I want to see how far this story reaches. I moved into Willow Crest Estates for one reason: quiet. I worked logistics compliance for a private government contractor. Boring title, serious responsibilities. No uniform, no badge, no swagger. I followed rules for a living. I assumed the HOA would love me. I was wrong. The first week went smoothly. Boxes unpacked, lawn trimmed, no noise, no drama. Then one afternoon, a matte gray enforcement SUV was delivered to my driveway. Unmarked, no sirens, no decals. Just a secured vehicle registered to my employer, authorized by the city, permitted to be parked on my own property. That night, my doorbell rang. Standing there was Karen, HOA president. Bright pink blazer, tight at the shoulders. Curly hair sculpted into a deliberate halo of authority. Clipboard pressed to her chest like a shield. Her smile never touched her eyes. She welcomed me to the neighborhood while staring past me at the SUV. By morning, the notices started. Violation for commercial vehicle presence. Violation for undeclared professional activity. Violation for potential neighborhood safety risk. None of those clauses existed. Karen escalated fast. She sent mass emails claiming my vehicle posed unknown dangers. She hinted at chemicals, surveillance, federal interference. Neighbors stopped waving. One woman pulled her child away when I stepped outside. Karen had turned imagination into policy. I responded professionally. Screenshots, permits, city authorization letters, employer documentation. I kept emotion out of it. That made her furious. At the next HOA meeting, Karen stood center stage in her pink blazer like a prosecutor. She never said my name, but every accusation pointed at me. She spoke about outsiders, threats, people who think they're above the rules. The room nodded along because Karen spoke with confidence, and confidence is contagious. Then she crossed the line. A certified letter arrived demanding I surrender access to the vehicle within 48 hours for inspection. Not request, demand. I knocked on her door that evening. I told her clearly touching that vehicle without authorization would be a felony. Federal implications, immediate arrest, no warnings. Karen laughed. She said HOA authority superseded any permit. She said vehicles could be seized for community protection. She said she had already spoken to the right people. I went home and did what I do best: document everything. Emails, letters, meeting recordings, security camera angles adjusted, dash systems synced. I didn't argue again. I waited. 3 days later, at noon, I returned from a site visit. As I pulled into my driveway, I noticed cones, bright orange cones blocking my own property. Karen stood beside the SUV, phone raised, recording. She announced loudly that the HOA was taking possession. I told her one last time to step back. She didn't. Karen climbed into the driver's seat and turned the key. The security system locked instantly. Alarms blared. The engine immobilizer kicked in. The doors sealed. Karen panicked. She slammed the wheel, screaming that I sabotaged HOA enforcement. Neighbors flooded outside, phones out, whispers spreading. Karen pounded the glass, demanding I unlock it. Instead, I made one call. When the authorities arrived, Karen tried to spin it, claimed HOA seizure authority, claimed I consented, claimed community emergency. But the dash system recorded everything: her threats, her laughter, her admission. The officer turned to her and said the words she never expected to hear. "Ma'am, you are interfering with federally regulated property." Karen's face drained of color under the pink blazer. And that's when she made her biggest mistake yet. the one that sealed everything. She tried to run. Karen didn't get far. She made it exactly 3 steps before tripping over the same orange cones she had placed herself. Her heels slipped, clipboard flew, and she hit the pavement hard. Pink blazer smeared with dust, curly hair unraveling as officers moved in fast. "Ma'am, stop resisting!" She screamed that this was an HOA emergency, that she had authority, that everyone here was a witness to my crimes. The irony was painful. Her phone was still recording, lying face up on the driveway, capturing every word. They cuffed her anyway. Neighbors stood frozen. Some looked shocked, others looked relieved, like something oppressive had finally cracked. Karen kept yelling that this was harassment, that she'd sue everyone, that the HOA would retaliate. None of that mattered anymore. The officer walked over to me calmly and asked for documentation. I handed over a neatly organized folder: permits, registrations, employer authorization, prior HOA correspondence. He nodded once. That nod was quiet, professional, and devastating for Karen. The situation escalated fast after that. A supervisor arrived, then another vehicle, then someone from a federal compliance unit, because once Karen tried to start that SUV, this stopped being neighborhood drama and officially became a jurisdictional problem. Karen's confidence evaporated as they explained the charges: unauthorized entry into a secured vehicle, interference with regulated property, false representation of authority, and attempted evasion when detained. Her mouth opened and closed like she was searching for a script that no longer existed. She demanded the HOA back her up. They didn't. One board member quietly admitted they'd warned her to stop. Another claimed ignorance. A third simply resigned on the spot, right there on the sidewalk. Karen watched her kingdom disintegrate in real time. They searched her phone. That's when things turned irreversible. Emails showed explicit threats. Messages showed premeditation. Voice notes recorded her bragging about teaching outsiders a lesson. There were even drafts of future violation notices she planned to issue once the vehicle was disposed of. Disposed of. That word alone changed the tone of the investigation. Karen was taken in that afternoon. No dramatic goodbye, no final speech, just handcuffs, a patrol seat, and a pink blazer folded awkwardly against the plastic divider. The HOA emergency meeting that night lasted less than 20 minutes. Karen was removed as president unanimously, her access codes revoked, HOA accounts frozen pending review. The association's legal counsel recommended immediate cooperation with authorities to avoid collective liability. Within a week, the fallout spread. The city placed the HOA under temporary oversight. All enforcement actions from the last 2 years were audited. Dozens of fines were reversed, liens dissolved. Residents who had been bullied quietly for years finally spoke up. Karen's hearing came quickly. The judge didn't entertain theatrics. He focused on facts, documentation, and recorded evidence. Karen tried to argue intent, tried to argue misunderstanding, tried to argue community protection. The judge stopped her mid-sentence. HOA authority does not supersede the law, he said flatly. Sentencing was efficient. Karen received 6 years in state prison with mandatory minimum time due to the interference charge. No early dismissal, no diversion. She was ordered to pay restitution covering legal costs, damages, and administrative expenses, totaling over $120,000. A lien was placed on her home. She was permanently barred from holding any HOA position statewide. Her professional certifications, the ones she used to intimidate residents, were revoked pending further review. Probation conditions upon release included monitoring, restricted contact with former neighbors, and mandatory behavioral counseling. The pink blazer never reappeared. Life in the neighborhood changed after that. Kids rode bikes again, people waved. HOA meetings became quiet, boring, and procedural, exactly how they should have been from the start. The SUV stayed in my driveway without issue, though eventually my assignment changed and it was reassigned elsewhere. Sometimes new neighbors ask what happened. I keep it simple. I tell them the HOA forgot where its power ended, and someone reminded them. If you made it this far, comment below. Do you think Karen got what she deserved, or should HOA leaders face even stricter consequences when they abuse power? And don't forget to like and subscribe for more real HOA downfall stories like this.